on our roundtable discussion this morning. We are simply, asking a very simple but important question. Is Ghana really recovering? And that's the question on the minds of several Ghanaians, because what they are seeing on paper and the lived realities may not be the same. On paper, the numbers say that the economy grew by 5.5% in the third quarter of 2025. And that sounds like some progress, isn't it? But step outside the report, talk to traders, talk to manufacturers, small business owners, and the story feels very, very different. Electricity bills are higher, raw materials cost more, loans are expensive, and for many businesses, growth hasn't meant expansion, it has actually meant survival. So this morning, we are looking beyond the headlines. We want to understand what this growth actually represents, why many people are not feeling it, and whether this recovery is reaching the real economy. By that, I mean the shops, the factories, and the homes. To help us unpack all of this, I'm joined by an economist, and he is going to have this conversation with me. His name is Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He's a senior finance and economics lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, and we're going to break down the numbers, the policies behind them, and also what they truly mean for Ghana's future. This is 5.5% growth on paper, struggle on the ground. Let's get into the conversation this morning. Dr. Jabir Mohammed, welcome to the Business Breakfast on ZED.
Good morning, Nii, and thanks for having me on your show.
Right. Thanks so much for also making time to join us this morning. Now, we have a very important conversation, and maybe for starters, as an economist, when you hear that Ghana recorded 5.5% GDP growth in quarter 3 of 2025, what does that number actually tell you about the economy?
Well, thank you. It's basically telling you that the economy is actually on a right path. Even though in 2024 we recorded similar growth rate, but in economics, growth rate is different from development. When an economy grows, it doesn't mean that there is going to be a direct development in every sector of the economy. It actually means that an aggregation of what everybody has produced within the economy, less external factors like any other person within the economy who is not a Ghanaian, then their output is taken out of the country. Then you base on your external people who have also gone out to work. So there is something called net factor productivity from abroad. So that is added, then you get the gross national product. But the GDP is the overall output within the economy. So everybody, like you are doing, we have the services sector, we have the manufacturing sector, we have the agri sector, we have the industrial sector. So all these sectors are aggregated based on their final output. And that forms the basis of what we call the economy. So sometimes the growth in the economy can be driven by some other factors or some sectors rather than just the basic sectors of the economy. So in a nutshell, you can have economic growth, but you may not have economic development.
I see. Very interesting. But why do we often see such a situation? I mean, economy is said to be growing, but businesses and households report worsening conditions.
Yeah, so like I said earlier on, if you base your analysis on per capita GDP, that is taking the gross domestic product and dividing by the population, you actually see that the real value of income or the income of people are the income everybody, per capita income is going to be growing. But that doesn't mean that the capital income is more distributive in nature. It could be that fewer people are having the money and larger group of the people are not having the funds. And it could also be that even though it is developing, you are not seeing roads, you are not seeing hospitals, you are not seeing so many other social amenities in your area. Even though on paper, you have the economy growing, but in reality, you go to the ground, it does not evenly spread among the people.
I see. And is this particular gap between the economic data and live reality of the Ghanaian people, something that cuts across, or it is just something we are observing in developing economies like ours?
Well, Yeah, so there can be structural defects that may lead to that. So if you don't have proper rules and regulations in place, proper legal procedures, proper institutions to help to seal leakages, you will notice that few people will be having more of the money and majority of the people will be suffering. So, for instance, corruption, what do you call it, inappropriate rules that are not put in place, or the legal system is not properly enhanced so that businesses can benefit out of it. We don't have maybe a proper way of doing business. Businesses are not properly formalized, and there is no market for product of goods and services. You will hear in recent time that the farmers are complaining that they have had a bumper harvest, yet their market is not good for them. So what are the policies should the government put in place to ensure that we mop up the excess farm product in the market? What should government do? So for instance, if you look at some government policies, I always say that certain government policies should be anchored by domestic resource mobilization or resource domestic production.
Right.
So, for instance, if you look at the free senior high school, if you look at what do you call it, capitation grant, free sanitary pads, all those kind of stuff, what do? You don't have to go out there to go and import them to come to the country to feed them.
Okay.
So for instance, the free senior high school, they eat food, they use uniform, they use sandals, they use belts and everything. So why don't we have a government policy in place that all food that are supposed to be used at the free senior high school level should be coming from local producers? If you do that, won't the bumper harvest situation become a thing of the past? Won't our farmers be willing to farm more? Won't our poultry farmers be willing to do more? Guinea fowl farmers, those who have cattle, those who have goat, sheep, and all of that. So the crop sector, the animal husbandry, and etc. So all of them will know that very well when we produce more, there is that local market supported by government policy. So for the growth to spread around, government must be deliberate about it. Government should become more focused in aligning their policies in every sector of the ministry to other sectors. So there should be that coordination. So that connectivity between, so for instance, the manufacturing sector is connected to Ministry of Trade and Industry. The agri sector is also connected. So you bring the manufacturing sector, agri sector, and Ministry of Education together and tell them that this is a program I want you to implement. At the end of the day, you will see that when the growth is growing, it's going to be trickling down to the ordinary people.
I see. So there could be some issues, I mean, with the economy, and that is why we're seeing that. But you also, I mean, I think the picture you paint kind of looks as if what we are seeing is also something that we'll see in other countries. So is it that generally citizens automatically don't have to expect to feel better when GDP grows?
No, not precisely the case. I'm telling you that growth must grow with a deliberate government policy, like I said earlier. Okay. So if you don't have a fundamental policies at home, homegrown policies or homegrown based, what do you call it, activity, you will not see it reflecting in the lives of the people. So you have to be deliberate. Because if you know those who are doing the imports and other things, just few people who are controlling the market. You get the point?
Yes.
But if you have a homegrown policy, it's going to transcend beyond just the group of people.
Okay.
Few people controlling the entire market space. So there can be other things that we don't have control over. We don't have competitive advantage in terms of producing those goods and services.
Right.
Obviously, there will be people to lead the market in terms of import. But where we have the control and that a deliberate policy can be anchored by government or can be introduced by government and ensure that that policy truly works, you will notice that at the end of the day, if you experience any growth, it has to reflect. So for instance, if the growth is coming from the oil and gas sector, you don't anticipate that you should have the growth reflecting in the lives of the people, because it's just few people who work in the oil and gas sector. And also in that sector, there are a lot of expatriates in that sector. So at the end of the day, they have come to grow your economy, but they carry the money away. Do you understand the point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I know that the president has actually, spoken about some school agriculture program. Is that some policy you think is going to play a role in all of this?
Yeah, they've spoken about the voter enclave around the Kusumbo
Yeah.
area, some of the things they want to do, so that could be a point to revitalize that area and ensure that the 24-hour economy works. I remember during the launch, they made that decision. But when you look at the voter area, I have had the opportunity about 2 weeks ago to take some students to take some business executive who came from another country to that enclave. And I noticed that in that voter, what do you call it, where the VRA is, they have channels. So why don't you increase the level of channels? Okay.
Yeah.
You construct more channels, then you have an analogous dam somewhere, so that when the sport is coming, you connect it to the other dam somewhere, okay?
Yeah.
So that you use that for agricultural purposes, and you can expand agriculture. And you see, the more people farm, you have to look out for channels of marketing, or channels of the value chain must be strong. They have to be able to process. The export activity should be done. The domestic consumption must also be done. So there have to be a deliberate government policy and say, okay, fine, we are going to restrict how much rice people are going to import. And we are going to make sure that our people produce and process rice of good quality that our local consumers will have to consume. But first of all, we want to start with our students in school. They cannot tell us the rice they want to eat. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
They cannot tell us the rice they want to eat. They cannot tell us the kind of meat they want to eat. But we can enforce it. So that is where the problem of addressing your growth going up and it reflecting in the lives of the people. Because if the growth is being driven by foreigners, at the end of the day, the foreigners will take their growth away. It will be on paper that you have grown, but in reality, the money has been taken away. Take note of that. It can be in paper that you have grown, but in reality, foreigners have driven your growth, so they'll carry their money away. So it's not going to reflect in the lives of the people. That is a core fundamental principle why the economy is not reflecting in the lives of the people.
I see, but would you describe Ghana's current growth as inclusive or non-inclusive, and what indicators inform that judgment?
Well, if you look at inclusive growth, that's why we say inclusive growth means that the lives of the people are improving, health is improving, educational levels are improving, income levels are improving. That's the meaning of inclusive growth. But and if it is being done, then you see that there is still a high level of abject poverty, then that is not too inclusive in nature. So if you look at Ghana in particular, you will see that like ordinary income level of people are actually rising, but not too much as we can see in other. We are seeing a rise in the middle income level. So many people are getting educated, people are getting into formal jobs, people are doing online jobs and all of that. So you notice that even if you come out there in Accra and other big cities, you see so many people owing a lot of assets, etc. That is a bit of growing middle income as compared to we were there in 10 years, 15 years ago, or we were there in 25 years ago. If you look at Accra today and 25 years ago, when I came to Accra in the year 2000, I could see that there has been a vast difference in Accra the year 2000 and Accra 2025. The past 25 years, there's been a tremendous improvement in income levels of people, even in the economy. So when you open up an economy like constructing more roads, expanding educational infrastructure, expanding health infrastructure, etc. It brings in a lot of improvement in your economy. Yeah.
I see. So in conclusion, what is the, are we inclusive or non-inclusive?
Yeah, I just told you that it's being inclusive because educational infrastructure is developing,
Right.
healthcare infrastructure is expanding, road net access is expanding. Just that we are so poor in terms of our railway system. That is virtually collapsed. But if you look at the road networks, we are expanding, we are improving.
Right.
There has been a drastic improvement in some of these infrastructure, airstrips and other things are improving. So I think government still needs more deliberate policies that can open up the economy, because you see transportation is very vital when it comes to economic transformation.
Yeah.
If you don't have a very resilient transport system, goods and services cannot move within the speed of time. If it has to take somebody a very long time to travel, it means that the person is wasting productive hours on traffic. So what are the key policies must we do to ensure that we smoothen it out? So if you look at it daily, when people are going to work, the movement to workplace is choked. When you are coming back, the movement to back is choked. What are the policies government can put in place to be able to unravel that particular situation? We have seen so many countries. We can learn from other countries. And I think that when we learn from other countries and we come to implement within the Ghanaian space, I believe that we'll get out of the troubles that we are in.
Okay, let's talk about the cost of doing business. How much do high energy costs, fuel prices, and logistics actually weigh on productivity, especially for manufacturers and SMEs?
Yeah, so when you look at manufacturing, input prices are very important. In microeconomics, there's something called the Douglas production function. So it's a function of input and labor, and that of maybe technology or something of that nature, and even sometimes human capital development. These are very important. And in terms of input pricing for manufacturing, electricity and water are the major input factors. And the labor is also a key input factor, because if you have a lower cost of electricity, you will notice that the unit cost of production is going to be less, which means that it's going to have an actual impact on pricing decision of the bank of the manufacturing firm. Typically, factories are priced based on its marginal cost. So the markup price is based on the marginal cost of the product. So if the marginal cost is high, obviously the markup factor is going to be high. At the end of the day, the price of the good is also going to be high. This is more typical of a microeconomic nature. So monopolies, as we see, those who provide the electricity and water are purely monopolies.
Okay.
And their prices are driven by demand and supply forces. So in a monopoly pricing, they choose the price they want to price. They have control over the price, as compared to a competitive firm where prices are fixed for you. But monopolies actually have their prices. They control their prices, and they control the demand. They control what to produce and how to produce it. So that is where the problem is. So when they come out with a price decision, and their price decisions are sometimes often inelastic in nature, which means that because the good is a necessity, you have no option than to buy it or to pay for it as it may be. Otherwise, they will tell you that if you don't pay up, we can't cover our marginal costs. And once we cannot cover our marginal costs, we cannot produce the service for you. So you have no option than to pay. But that notwithstanding, I believe that when we are able to do things in a proper way and regulate things very well, it will help. Recently, I think the PURC came out with new prices that in January we're going to begin to pay again. And people are of the opinion that the increase in the prices that they are bringing up is even more than the average a 9% increment in basic pay that the tripartite committee accepted. So as a result of that, there has been back and forth with the tripartite committee, with the government, to even adjust the rate the government gave us. Otherwise, they have to go back to the table and reduce the prices that they are proposing to charge on utility tariffs. So these are issues. And mind you, government has worked tirelessly to reduce inflation. In 2024, inflation was like 23 point something percent. I think 23 point, 23 point something percent.
Yeah.
And
23.8
by the close
also.
of, I think last month, inflation has trended down to about 6.3%.
Yes.
Which means that we are even marching up to meet the ECOWAS conversion criteria of less than or equal to 5% of inflation, which is a target that we need to meet to be able to rule out the ECO. You know, they have about 5 convergent criteria. And I think in recent times, Ghana have been able to meet a number of them. And inflation is something that we haven't still been able to meet. So we have been able to meet things like exchange rate depreciation. They say equal to or less than 10%. Now we have been able to do about 18.5%. They also said that they want fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP to be about 3%, less than or equal to 3%, and we have done 2.3% of GDP. So I think that Ghana is progressing in terms of some of these convergent criteria. And in that manner, what that means is that the cost of doing business in Ghana is actually reducing. So if you look at the monetary policy rate, that was about 28% in 2024. It's now about 18%, which means that there have been about 1,000 percentage basis points reduction in the monetary policy rate, which means that the cost of borrowing is going to be less per the Ghana referencing rate. If you compute the Ghana referencing rate, which has 3 key indicators, 40% for your treasury bill rate, 40% for monetary policy, and 20% for interbank rate, adjusted by the quantum of votes that the banks are holding. So what that means is that we are going to have a trending, what we call a reduction in terms of the Ghana referencing rate. And what that means is that it's going to affect the lending rate. Lending rates are going to be trending downwards. And once monetary policy rate is also downward, it means that the commercial banks can lend at a cheaper cost and on-lend to businesses also at a cheaper cost. So in 2026, we should expect a very good trending upwards in terms of micro level. Like I said, you can still have growth, but growth will not reflect in businesses because micro level issues are different from macro level issues. So as your business in ZED FM, there are so many things you can do to improve your own output.
You're right.
So that you can take advantage of your own economies of scale. What do you have to do? It means that maybe you need to look at your internal processes to cut down costs within your business operation space. Maybe what you need to do is that you need to have a very competent management accountant to be able to manage your finances, manage your help you to cut down your costs. You need to have maybe good strategies as to how to attract a lot of advertisement, etc., and all of that. Because you are operating within a space we call in economics monopolistically competitive industry. What that means is that you have to up your game in terms of some of the things that you do.
I see. Well, Doc, kindly hold on for me. Let me just announce the phone lines in case somebody wants to join the conversation. If you just tune in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nii Trebi Hammond. And this morning, we're having a conversation trying to see whether our economy is really recovering, because according to what we are seeing, we have, our GDP grew by 5.5% in the third quarter of this year. But I mean, if you get to the grounds, people say that they are not quite seeing the results, and that's why we're having this conversation this morning. My guest is Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He is a finance and economics lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, and he's helping us have this conversation this morning. If you just tune in, you can join the conversation. It's a very interactive show. Feel free to send us a WhatsApp on 0544-321019, 0544-321019, or you can call us on 030395661, 030395661, and we give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. You can also join the conversation on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We're streaming live on those two platforms. You can join the conversation and we will give you the opportunity to be a part. Okay, so Doc, let's continue the conversation. I want us to move away from the cost of doing business, and you've spoken extensively about the inflation numbers as well. Let's look at policy effectiveness. You started by talking about that. You were mentioning that policies must actually support the numbers we are seeing, and that's actually the way we're going to see the results. Now, how effective have current fiscal and monetary policies been in translating growth into improved welfare for the ordinary Ghanaian and ordinary businesses as well as households?
Yeah, so let me quickly make this point before I go there. There is, in economy, there's something called lag effect. Okay.
Yeah.
Lag effect of even fiscal and monetary policies. So lag effect means that, you see, when you see the group that we have 5.5%, instantaneously, you are not going to receive it as a business. You will receive it maybe the next period. Everything that has happened now, you cannot just get it like that. It has to reflect in the next period. That's what you have to understand.
Right.
It's part of a fiscal policy procedure, and it's also part of a monetary policy procedure. So because of the lag effect of the monetary policy that we were receiving, when the Bank of Ghana monetary policy rate came down, the banks were not willing to adjust their rate. So as a result of that, the bank decided to come out with a Ghana referencing rate. So long as the monetary policy rate reduces, instantly the bank rates are also going to come down. But the Bank of Ghana cannot control the premium that the banks are going to be placing on their rate that they have to borrow, because after the Ghana referencing rate amount, the banks are also adding their individual premiums, and their individual premiums can be affected by other factors, rather than just the economy-wide conditions. It could be affected by maybe people are not paying their loans on time. So based on some of the sectors, then they'll add their premium based on the sector. If your sector is a defaulting sector, then your risk premium is going to be high. If your sector is not a defaulting sector, your risk premium is going to be low. And also there's something called compensating balances. So the banks can also look at the compensating balances, and the adjustment is going to be done based on that. So there are so many factors that lead to adjustment in the cost of financing businesses may have.
Okay.
Now, to the effect of the monetary policy, I've just told you that monetary policy rates are trending downwards. You know that.
Yeah.
Currently, we now have about what they call 18%, which means that the Bank of Ghana has certain tools of monetary policy controls in economics. And we have what we call the open market operation, we have reserve required ratios, we have discount rate or discount window, you may call it, and we also have what we call moral suasion. And even finally, there can be an effect of special directives that the Bank of Ghana may give.
Right.
These are the controls that the central bank uses to control and regulate the amount of money in circulation. You will notice that the Bank of Ghana and that of the what do you call it, the fiscal side, which is the fiscal authorities.
Yeah.
What they opt to do is that there need to be a coordination between the fiscal authorities and Bank of Ghana. And I have always spoke about this particular issue in a number of platforms, and I'll re-encore. But I think now that fiscal coordination is there because one, Bank of Ghana is doing zero financing to the central government, which means that Bank of Ghana is not printing money to the central bank to use it for their activities. So, which is a very good thing.
Okay.
If you look at the ECOWAS conversion criteria, I think it's supposed to be about 10%. It's supposed to be about 10% of central bank financing. So if you are doing 0%, it means that we have achieved that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now another thing is that primary balance. Primary balance in economics simply means that your revenue less expenditure, okay, less all your expenditure, non-interest expenditure, which means that your interest rate and your debt financing is not part of it. So if you can use your revenue to finance all your budgeting activities, okay, all your budgeting activities, then if you can do that to finance all your budgeting activities, and you still have some funds left, we call it the surplus, the primary surplus.
Yeah.
That means that you are doing well. But let me be quick to add that the debt exchange program that we went into has helped in this particular regard, in the sense that we are not paying our debt obligations now, right?
Yeah.
And we are not also adding external debt to our debt obligations. I'm not saying we are not paying. We are paying what we have borrowed in recent times. Okay, but all the other ones that we entered into this thing with, all the other money we have been able to there's a cut on it for now. So which means that there is a lot of savings coming out of it.
Okay.
So when you have a lot of savings, you can use that for infrastructure development and other things. That's the essence of the debt exchange program. It's a painful thing for any government to do, but sometimes when you are pushed to the wall, you have to face the music and do the right thing.
Right.
So that decision was taken, and that decision has been a decision that has helped for us to be able to achieve the primary balance. Now we are doing about 1.5% of GDP, which means that at least the current administration has been able to fully negotiate and ensure that, because it didn't end, they have to come and fully negotiate the rest of the things. They've been able to do that, and that has helped them to be able to meet that criteria of at least we having about 1.5% surpluses of primary balance, which is a very big thing. And that can be used to support so many factors of the economy. So you will ask yourself, why is it that at least now that thing has been able to do, and we are now doing better because we have also been able to work. So the central bank has worked very tirelessly to ensure that there has been a significant appreciation of the local currency. And last year alone, I think currently the government of Ghana has been able to do about 18.4% of appreciation of the cedi, which is also better because if you look at the secondary criteria of the ECOWAS convergence, it says that you should have a nominal exchange rate of plus 10 or minus 10%.
Right.
So, yeah, which means that your exchange rate can depreciate. You can appreciate plus 10% or you can depreciate minus 10%. If you look at it from 2024 and even 2022, we had a depreciation rate of about 54%, which means that we are off the year. We have a budget deficit close to about 14 point something percent of GDP were off the year. Now we have about 2.3% of GDP, which means that we have achieved that purpose. Inflation went up to about 54%. Now we have 6.3%. We have achieved the target. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
Then central bank financing were very, very high. If you notice that, you remember that the Bank of Ghana actually collapsed. Let me put it that way. It nearly collapsed because the Bank of Ghana had a deficit of about 70 billion Ghana cedis, or was it 60 billion? Then the following year, 10 billion, close to about 70 billion. And now there are signs of recovery in that sector as well. So, which means that the government is not sleeping and they are working. So that coordination between the physical area where the central bank says that I'm not financing you, and the central government has been able to live without the central bank financing them, that is a physical discipline. And that physical discipline should reflect in the lives of businesses, should reflect in our lives. Because if the government don't spend anyhow, inflation is not going to go up. And if inflation does not increase is not very high, it means that the cost of living is going to be low. And it is a plus for government because people are not going to be asking you to pay them more money when inflation is not going up, because they can live within their means. So these are things that we need to do so that anchor, that kind of fiscal consolidation between monetary authorities and fiscal authorities can work in an effective manner. That coordination must be there. Recently, the governor of Bank of Ghana said that when they read the Monetary Policy Committee, the report of the Monetary Policy Committee is not just going to be by the Bank of Ghana alone. They are going to be consulting the fiscal authorities. They are going to be consulting businesses.
Yeah.
And also, they are going to ensure that every member of the Monetary Policy Committee, whatever say they have, is made public. So to ensure what they call a trust in government and to ensure trust in governance, it is important that you report to the people what you've been doing. So you will notice that the government in recent times has come out with the accountability series, and every ministry is coming out there to talk and report on what they do. That is confidence in the system.
Yeah.
And that's what is going to help to ensure that governance are done and done in a proper manner.
I see, Doc. I'm looking at our time, and we have to go. Unfortunately, we couldn't start on time, but that's something. Hopefully, we can have some further conversations on this in the coming days. But what policy reforms are most urgent if Ghana wants to actually, if we want growth to translate into jobs, to stable businesses, and some improved living standards? Maybe we can wrap up with that.
Well, like I said, you need to get the people involved. You have to carry them along.
Sure.
Yes, and I think the government has a lot of policies in the budget statement, and the budget statement tells you what they have to do. So what I will say is that if government is in their resetting agenda, if government is able to implement even up to 80% in terms of implementation of the policies they have in their 2026 budget, we can be in the path of the growth we want to see and the translation we want to see in the lives of the people. And like I said, coordinate the ministries, coordinate agriculture, education, and the trade and industry ministry. These three ministries are very important. They should come together, and if they come together, we'll resolve most of our fundamental problems.
All right, Doc. Thank you very much. Maybe finally, should Ghanaians be optimistic about recovery or cautious based on the economic fundamentals we see today?
Well, the fundamentals are looking good. They are looking strong. There is significant progress has been made in the past 1 year of the current administration. And I believe that what we need is sustainability and continuity of the programs.
Okay.
So if we have inflation continue to be in the manner it is, if you have exchange rate continue to be in the manner it is, if you have the growth rate continue to even average at 5%, that is enough. And I believe that these are the fundamental things that Ghanaians are looking up to. I don't want to wake up and prices are not stable. In that manner, I cannot plan. Businesses cannot plan with unstable prices.
Yeah.
Businesses cannot plan with unstable exchange rate. Businesses cannot plan with unstable interest rate. These are not good signs of any progressive country. Okay. So if they want to continue for us to progress, then inflation should continue to be where it is, or better, still come down. Exchange rate should better still come down, or it should be at a place where people can plan. And finally, interest rates must also not be too high for people to go and borrow so that they can do businesses. The Bank of Ghana says that, the governor says that it is his interest to leave interest rates below even 10% before he leaves as a governor. So I will charge him to lead on his words. And the finance minister also says that he wants to keep primary surplus at 1.5% consistently. I will charge him to live by his words. If the two of them are able to do what they promise us, then we'll have a better Ghana for all of us. Thank you.
Right, Dr. Jabir, thank you so much for your time, and thanks so much for sharing your insights with us this morning. We're really grateful.
Thank you.
All right. Please do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He is a senior finance and economics lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And he's been talking to us in terms of the 5.5% growth that we saw in the Q3 of this year, and whether that is actually what we are seeing in terms of the reality on the ground. And he says that there are a lot of things that we need to do if we really want to begin to see the GDP growth actually translates to the realities on the ground, and we need to do certain things. We need to put in place certain policies and make sure that the policies are actually supporting this growth trajectory that we are talking about. And so there are quite a number of things that Bank of Ghana has to do, quite a number that the Finance Ministry also has to do. But all of that is supposed to help us see that there's a connection. There is no gap between the realities on the ground and also the numbers on paper. So that's how we wrap up today. Our video, our live stream will continue to be on our social media platforms, on our Facebook at ZFMGH, and also on our YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can visit those platforms and play it back this morning or whenever you want. But this is how we wrap up today on the roundtable discussion, and of course the business breakfast on Z right here on your lifestyle, leisure and business platform. We're back again tomorrow for more interesting conversations as always. My name is Nii Trebi Hammond, and thanks to the production team, DJ Wade, thank you so much for being on the console for us, and everybody else who tuned in. I'm so grateful that you'd make time to join us this morning. Please do well to join us tomorrow as well. And when you think Ghana, do well to think Z. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okorie Amwako. Please stay tuned.